A tough one in the Windy City as the Padres fall 3-2 on this Tuesday night in Game 2 of this three-game series at Wrigley Field. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll have all the radio highlights for you, break this one down in its entirety. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit as well. Our daily awards, full out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more to get to as the Padres lose a really tough one, a game that for a little while you felt like could be a super, super memorable win. Well, unfortunately, it goes the other way. The Padres unable to find a way to win this game, and we will talk plenty about it here tonight. Again, if you want to get involved on our post-game show, as always, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. You can also Instagram DM me at SammyLev, SammyLev. You can also, of course, comment for now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let me know your thoughts about tonight's game. We'll take your phone calls coming up a little bit later as well. But you look at this game, I think you sort of break it down into three separate chapters. The first chapter was Shota Imanaga being as advertised in this game. He was absolutely terrific for the Cubs. 7 scoreless innings to begin his night. We talked plenty about him pregame. Jesse and Tony talked plenty about him in the early part of the game throughout his start, how good this guy has been. And Imanaga was as advertised. He kept the Padres off balance all evening long through 7 innings, in, out, up, down, you name it. The Padres were befuddled by the work of Shota Imanaga. Now, on the other side, the Padres got great pitching performances from Randy Vasquez, who did his job, 4 innings and a third, 1 run given up. Adrian Morejon was great out of the bullpen, inning and 2/3 scoreless. Stephen Kolek, a scoreless inning. And it got the Padres to the 8th inning, down 1-0, and still with a chance, albeit against a guy in Imanaga who they had not been able to touch to that point. And that brings us to the second chapter of this game. Luis Arraez pinch hits in the 8th inning to lead off, ends up getting on base with a single. Moments after that, Jurickson Profar, who has been so good for this team, goes down, gets a splitter, and yanks it out of the yard for a 2-run home run against Imanaga. And just like that, in a split second, the Padres have a 2-1 lead. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, if they can just find a way to get 6 outs, what a steal of a win this could be for the Padres. And what another outstanding moment for Jurickson Profar. After 7 scoreless innings for Imanaga, they finally get a big swing against him. The Padres pitching staff had done a great job just giving up 1 run. What a win this could be. But you knew that it was probably far from over. And I should also say this was a great baseball game here tonight. Yesterday was as well. Tonight, right in that category too. Another fantastic ball game. But that's not the point here tonight. Brings us to chapter number 3, which was the Padres trying to really, in my mind, do 2 things. Add on insurance, and then try to close out the ball game and pick up a win at Wrigley Field. Let's start with the insurance part of it. Remember, the Padres had an opportunity with Fernando Tatis Jr. on second base and just 1 out to get another run in that 8th inning, get some insurance. They couldn't find a way to get Fernando in. Then you go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Yuki Matsui, who struggled yesterday, gave up a 2-run home run. We knew the bullpen had been taxed a lot the last couple of days. Well, Matsui comes in, and he does something that you just can't do in a spot like that. Walks the leadoff man with the Padres up 2-1 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. A single by Bellinger, sac fly from Morel, and just like that, we're tied at 2. Now, Matsui and then De Los Santos did a good job getting out of that inning, still tied at 2. That brought us to the 9th inning. Padres then had another chance in the 9th inning to take the lead again. They had 2 on with 2 out, runners on first and second. Jackson Merrill, who had come in to play center field, the Padres electing to get Profar out and move Azócar to left, Jackson to center. after they took the lead, going for defense there, and that's something we've seen Mike Shildt and the Padres do a lot early this season. They have not been shy, despite how good Jurickson Profar has been, to take him out late in games for defense. That has been one of their strategies. Well, then it comes up in the ninth inning again, because instead of Profar, now Jackson Merrill is perfectly capable of getting a base hit there. He's been great on the road this year. Contact guy, perfectly capable of getting a base hit there. Didn't work out, grounds out, but that was, and it's worth noting, Profar's spot in the lineup. So it brings us to the bottom half of the ninth inning. And look, if you're a Cubs fan tonight, this was a magical win. The rain coming down at Wrigley, and the first pitch that Michael Busch sees from Enyel De Los Santos. De Los Santos grooves a fastball. Busch hits it out to right center. Ball game over. Cubs win it 3-2. So really tough one here tonight for the Padres. And we mentioned it last night when we were talking about the road leading to Robert Suarez in this bullpen, how on some nights it had been really solid, and that path to Suarez has been rockier at times. And tonight was one of those nights where it got rocky. In that eighth inning, Matsui walks the leadoff man. Matsui and De Los Santos both gave up home runs yesterday, so it hasn't been a great series for either of those guys. But the Padres, right now, they don't have an automatic option as far as the setup man, somebody who's really taken that job, whether it's a lefty or a righty, and solidified themselves in that spot. Now, tonight was a little bit different, too, because the bullpen's been used a lot the last couple of days. It was used a lot yesterday, but the Padres couldn't close it out. And look, it was a great baseball game. Do I think the Padres have anything to really sulk about after this one? I don't. Look, against Imanaga, bottom line is this. He's been doing what he did here tonight in the first 7 innings against everybody. So there was no shame to me tonight in struggling against Imanaga, but then you end up getting the home run from Profar, and all of a sudden you're thinking this could be a steal of a win here tonight. What a moment for Profar. But look, they did show you something tonight, the way they were able to take the lead late after really getting dominated by Imanaga for so long. But the bullpen, it's been up and down this year, as we know. There's been a run where they were really good. There have been some tougher moments as well. Tonight falls in the tougher category, and the Padres also, part of the loss here tonight, not able to get that insurance after they got the 2-run home run from Profar. So frustrating all the way around. Bottom line is this: you have the opportunity to win this series in Chicago tomorrow. If you go and do that with Dylan Cease on the mound, I think you feel pretty good about this series against a good Cubs team. This Cubs team, they're going to be in the mix as far as a postseason spot at the end of the year. They're going to be right there, I think, with the Padres at the end of the year. But if you can go win the series, take 2 out of 3, have a 4-2 road trip before you come home to play the Dodgers, I think you'll take that. But the frustrating part of tonight, man, you felt like this was going to be a really good win if they could just find a way to hold on. And they couldn't here tonight. So there are different aspects of this game we'll still have to break down. Again, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. We'll have the radio highlights for you, recap this game in its entirety. Tell you what, again, it was a good ball game here tonight. The 2 games in this series, it's had a late season feel to it. It really, really has. So good ball game here tonight. If you're a baseball fan, if you're a Padres fan, frustrating, no doubt about it. Final score as the Cubs walk it off on the Padres tonight. 3-2, Chicago wins it. Our postgame show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Padres fans,
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Tough one tonight for the Padres as they fall 3-2 to the Chicago Cubs. Michael Busch, a walk-off home run in the bottom half of the ninth inning on the very first pitch of the inning from Enyel De Los Santos. That was the game-winning swing. We'll recap this game in its entirety in just a moment, and we'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt in just a little bit as well. So stay tuned for all that. We will get to your phone calls, your tweets, your Instagram DMs, your video comments as we go along here tonight as well. Like I said in the opening segment, this was a great baseball game. The first two games of this series in Chicago, these have been really good games. And I know that doesn't make you feel any better about the loss here tonight. Totally get it. But these were games that did not feel like a Monday and Tuesday in early May. I mean, they really had a late season feel to them. So whether these teams meet later in the year, well, they're not going to meet later in the regular season. This is actually weirdly the final series they play against one another this season in the regular season. But who knows? Maybe beyond that in the postseason. We're certainly a long ways away from that. But the point being, two teams that I think a lot of people expect to be in the mix as far as a postseason spot. Last two nights, some really good baseball games that really did have a late season feel. A lot to talk about from this one. Let's get to it.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
We had a pitcher's duel early on. Randy Vasquez and Shota Imanaga matching zeros. We still had a scoreless game. Heading to the bottom half of the fourth inning, Cody Bellinger led off.
3-2, the pitch. Bellinger swings, hits it in the air to deep right. Tatis is back. He'll turn around. It's going to go. Home run, Cody Bellinger. Sixth of the year, and in his second at bat back off the injured list, Bellinger goes deep and gives the Cubs a 1-0 lead.
Vasquez then struck out the next three. He got the first out of the bottom half of the fifth inning. Adrian Morejon finished the fifth. Vasquez did his job tonight. 4 innings and a third scoreless, 1 run given up. The problem was that the Padres just couldn't get to Imanaga. Their best scoring chance came in the sixth inning, 2 on with 1 out, but Imanaga struck out Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts to get out of the jam. Meanwhile, the Padres bullpen was doing a good job. Morejon worked out of a jam in the sixth inning. Stephen Kolek tossed a scoreless bottom of the seventh inning. Meanwhile, Imanaga went into the eighth inning for the very first time in his career after 7 scoreless frames, the Cubs leading just 1-0. Luis Arraez pinch hit in the number 9 spot against him. He singled to get the tying run on base. Then it was Jurickson Profar who stepped in. The count ran 2-2.
Arraez at first base. 2-2 to Profar. The pitch from Imanaga. Hit in the air to left center field, trying to find the gap. This one is up and out. A home run! Profar, a line drive homer to left center field, and the Padres take a 2-1 lead.
That's how you collect data and make the adjustment when it counts. Padres getting active here in the eighth inning. 2-run shot by guess who? Jurickson Profar.
Guess who, indeed. Profar continuing what has been a terrific season, and just like that, the Padres had a 2-1 lead. That was it for Imanaga. He was so good in this game, but the final pitch he threw was that one. He was all of a sudden in line for the loss. Fernando Tatis Jr. then singled against Cubs reliever Yency Almonte. He stole second, but the Padres couldn't get to T-Sin, couldn't get that insurance run. That was important because Yuki Matsui came on for the bottom half of the eighth. He got in trouble, a walk, then a single. Runners on first and third with nobody out. Christopher Morel hit a sac fly to center. Run scored. We were tied at 2. Matsui and Enyel De Los Santos would combine to get the final 3 outs of that inning, keep the game tied, or I should say final 2 outs of the inning, keep the game tied at 2. So we went to the 9th inning. Hector Neris on the mound for Chicago. Padres put together a rally, a single by Ha-Sung Kim with 1 out, a walk to Luis Camposano, put runners on first and second with 2 men away. Then Jackson Merrill came up for the first time in the game because he had come in for defense earlier, after that home run by Profar, Azokar went from center to left, Merrill playing center, so now Merrill was in the leadoff spot instead of Profar, and Merrill grounded out to end the inning. We were still tied at 2. As we went to the inning break, the rain started to really come down at Wrigley Field. It had been drizzling for 5-10 minutes, but then it started to pour. So we began the bottom half of the 9th inning, a driving rain in the Windy City. Michael Busch leading off for the Cubs. Enyel De Los Santos back on the mound for the Padres, trying to keep it a 2-2 game. De Los Santos threw his very first pitch to Busch.
Michael Busch leads off against Enyel De Los Santos, swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air to deep right center, gone, a walk-off home run. Well, don't worry about the rain anymore because the game is over.
First pitch heater, middle. Michael Busch ends it.
Cubs win the game 3-2.
A really, really nice win for the Cubs, no doubt about it. Fans got to be happy tonight. In the rain, Michael Busch, the walk-off home run, and that was that. Cubs win it 3-2 on the walk-off blast by Busch. Padres dropped to 19-20 with the defeat. Cubs improved to 22-15, and now it sets up the rubber game of this series tomorrow, late morning, 11:20 a.m. start time tomorrow. Much more on that game coming up in just a little bit. I should mention, I didn't really get into this during the radio highlights there, but another part of this game where the Cubs really deserve some credit. Not only were they able to keep it a 1-run deficit after the Profar home run and then keep the game tied after they tied it at 2, but the defense from the Cubs in the 8th and 9th innings was really good. I mean, there was a great catch by Nico Horner on a bloop into shallow right center off the bat of Xander Bogaerts. If that falls in with 2 outs, Padres take a 3-1 lead in the 8th inning, and this game may end up going very differently if the Padres do have a 2-run lead after that top half of the 8th inning. And then there was another great catch by Ian Happ in left center up against the ivy in left center. That could have been extra bases for Jose Azokar, could have given the Padres a lead, but instead caught by Happ. So there were a couple of really, really nice defensive plays in this game as well that helped the Cubs win this game late. So Cubs made a lot of plays late in this game, and they go on to win it 3-2. Let's go back to the north side of Chicago at Wrigley Field and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Especially painful the way you guys were able to just push and finally take the lead.
What's that again?
Was it especially painful considering the way?
Yeah. I mean, what a baseball game. You know, pitchers duel and back and forth, and our guy Vasquez was really, really good and got us into the 5th, and Morihone clearly did his job, and Kolek with a clean 7th, and of course their guy's really good as well. Pitched very well, and we're able to get him right there at the end, take the lead, and clearly gave it right back.
I don't even know how to ask it a different way now that has continued to happen.
Yeah, it's the self-infliction of it. It's the walk that starts it. And then who knows, because he's out of the stretch, if this ground ball is the same with Bellinger, but if Croney's not holding the bag, and it's an easy play, and it's possibly the second out. But it's we recognize hard jobs back into games, and the lights get a little bit brighter. But the fact of the matter is we just want to make sure we control counts, just like any pitcher in any situation. And like I said, the leadoff walk was what really basically got us.
Just think of that Profar at bat, the splitter after splitter, and then
what a great at bat. I mean, I like the fact that we still, we scored 2 off of him, but I still felt like we were getting better as the game went against him. That splitter's good, man. It was, it's late. It's like right when you swing, it just disappears. So, and he just didn't leave many in the zone. But Bro took another big league quality bat to give us a good chance to win.
Anything you see in De Los Santos in that there were no home runs for, I think it was 13 outings, and now.
I think it's more about location. It typically is. I didn't see the pitch, haven't seen it, but it looked like something that was more center cut, and put a good swing on him.
Saw it. After last night's 5-out save for Robert, it just looked like he was warming up. Was the plan maybe later in the ninth or potential extra innings?
Just a lead. We can only justify with the lead. With him throwing 5 out, we weren't going to send him out there unless we had the lead. And we were right there close to get to him. We just couldn't push it through.
Talked before the game about Randy's fastball command, but the curveball tonight was getting a lot of good swings on it. Just what did you see from that pitch?
I saw the mix of both. I thought they set each other up. It was pretty evident early on that he had the fastball command, and he was controlling counts. He was ahead in about every count, and then he was able to mix in the curveball, which was really, really good job, and did a nice job with the running game too. Mixed everything up, and he threw the ball exceptionally well.
Big picture, what Randy did, given that you do need at least one more, this was his best start. Just what did it do for him and for you?
Yeah, put him in a position. I mean, we'll still consider our options, relative to, our bullpen and what looks next. But, we got obviously have a day off after tomorrow, and we'll see. But, yeah, he threw the ball exceptionally well and made a case for another opportunity.
So you cannot say couldn't hold the lead today?
Yeah, the leadoff walk and then the ground ball base hit, and, now we're at first and third. And, after that he gets the sac fly. So just one of those days he just couldn't get that first guy.
But yesterday too, right?
Yeah, yesterday come in and was fresh, and again the leadoff walk ended up getting him.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after tonight's game. Padres falling 3-2 to the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. You heard the questions there about De Los Santos and Matsui. Look, no doubt, a tough couple of days for those two guys. Matsui giving up a home run yesterday. De Los Santos giving up a home run yesterday. Now Matsui, like we heard there, that leadoff walk in the 8th inning, that was just critical after the Padres took the lead. When you have a 1-run lead on the road late, a leadoff walk, it can lead to a lot of bad things, and it did here tonight. So Matsui's had some struggles now. Last couple of times out. De Los Santos, same thing, couple of times out now after he had been pretty good for a while. Gave up 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning during the Cincinnati series. That was after a run of a bunch of appearances in a row where he had been good. And look, again, the setup guys, the relief before Suarez, we know it's been a little up and down. It's been good at times, it's been not so good at times, and it was a fair question there what the situation with Suarez was, because he was warming up in the top of the 9th inning, and I kind of surmised it at the time that Suarez was only going to come in the bottom half of the 9th inning had the Padres taken a lead. And look, there may be people out there that say, well, hey, you should get him in because it's not guaranteed that you're going to get later in the game to use him when you have a lead. And look, that's one way to think about it. That's not the conventional way normally of how teams think about using their closer on the road in a tie game. And also consider this, and I agree with Mike Shildt on this. He went and got 5 outs yesterday. So you got to be a little careful with how you're using Robert. He's already been asked to get more than 3 outs a handful of times already the first month plus of the season, and he's been obviously really, really good, but you gotta be a little cautious with him in a sense. So I didn't disagree with not getting Suarez in there. You have to be able to rely on other guys in the bullpen to go get some outs and keep a game tied, and the Padres, unfortunately, could not do that here today. All right, when we come back on the Padres Radio Network, we'll start letting you sound off on tonight's game. I'll read your tweets, your Instagram DMs. You can get me on there at SammyLev, SammyLev. If you want to get involved on the video stream, you can do that as well on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Comment, and I'll see your comments there. Want to get a phone call in? We've already got a couple of people on hold, so we'll get to you when we get back. 833-288-0973, the phone number. 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. Final score here tonight, Cubs 3, Padres 2. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Another happy, safe
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Cubs 3 and the Padres 2. Michael Busch, a walk-off home run for the Cubbies against Enyel de Los Santos. That was after the Padres trailed 1-0. Heading into the top of the 8th inning, Jurickson Profar, a go-ahead 2-run home run against Shota Imanaga, who had pitched 7 scoreless innings to that point. Looked like the Padres might get out of Wrigley Field tonight with an awesome win, really. I mean, I said it earlier. This would have been just a tremendous win after how good Imanaga was in this game, but then the Cubs tie it in the bottom of the 8th inning. They win it in the bottom half of the 9th inning on the Busch home run. And instead, Padres and Cubs have now split the first 2 games of this 3-game series, setting up the rubber game of this series tomorrow morning. We'll have more on that game coming up a little bit later on. We'll get some of your phone calls, your tweets, your Instagram DMs coming up here in a second. Again, Twitter or Instagram, you can find me there at Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, we'll take your comments on there if you're watching on the video stream. Or you can call in 833-288-0973, the phone number. But first, let's quickly tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Swanson at first, Bellinger at third. Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Got him to chase the elevated heater at 96 miles an hour, and the side is retired. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left on base.
Our relief pitcher of the game here tonight, no doubt about it to me, Adrian Morejon, who is really good, continues to be very, very solid out of the Padres' pen for the most part. Inning and 2/3 scoreless here tonight, 30 pitches. Worked out of a jam in the 5th inning, then worked out of another jam, stranded a couple on in the 6th inning to keep it a 1-0 game. And again, had the Padres won this game, I think you would have looked back on it and said, well, you know what? Morejon, Kolek, they deserve a lot of credit for keeping it a 1-run game. Of course, Randy Vasquez working into the 5th inning, a scoreless start for him, aside from, well, not scoreless. He did give up the 1 home run to Bellinger, but Vasquez, too, kept his team in the game. All that's still true, but the Padres couldn't hang on to win it. So Adrian Morejon, our relief pitcher of the game here tonight. Really nice job. Inning and 2/3 scoreless. 3 hits given up, 2 strikeouts out of the pen. And we'll see if Morejon can keep it up. For the most part, he's been very, very good here in 2024 in the bullpen. Phone number, as always, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's lead things off tonight on the phones. We go to the Northeast. It's Brandon calling in from Boston. Hi, Brandon. You're on the Padres Radio Network. How are you?
What's going on? How are you?
Doing well.
Perfect. Loved the points on the relief pitchers. That's not why I called.
Okay.
So as a, technical Red Sox fan, and they're kind of doing the Tampa Bay Rays style over here, a little bit on the roster, whereas the Padres spent a lot of money. Things aren't looking great. I'm curious how you guys are feeling about the Xander Bogaerts contract.
Brandon, are you a Padres fan?
Yes, I do not like the Red Sox one bit. This was a heartbreaking loss. Wrigley Field's beautiful, fine, whatever. To lose the way kind of did tonight is a little bit heartbreaking, and it hurts. I don't really think we did anything wrong. I mean, a couple of mistakes, fine. I don't think that's on us tonight, but I really don't.
Well, look, Brandon, it was a tough loss, no doubt about it. I mean, look, it was a great baseball game. There are a few things you can point to as far as what the Padres could have done better in this game, I think. I mean, obviously, look, you want to find a way to secure the lead, keep it tied. They couldn't do it. Was it the worst loss of the year? Was it unforgivable? No, it was not. You would have liked them to get another insurance run in that 8th inning, had an opportunity to score again in the 9th inning. To me, this was frustrating because you found a way finally against Imanaga, and you just couldn't find a way to hold on. And what would have felt like a steal of a win ends up being a really frustrating loss. Am I going to go crazy about this one tonight? I'm not. A winnable game, no doubt. But it's been a taxed bullpen. Padres, in that middle relief, they've got some question marks. It's been up and down on who those, day in, day out, really, really reliable guys are in the setup to Suarez. I'm not going to go crazy about this one tonight. But look, you want to win the series tomorrow. I think you come out, you win the series tomorrow, you'll take it. 4-2 trip, 2 out of 3 in Chicago, but you got to go do that. And you could have done that already and made tomorrow sort of the cherry on top had you won tonight. So, look, tough loss, no doubt about it. But tonight, things they could have done better. But at the same time, the Imanaga part of it, I was going to say if the Padres lost this game 1-0 in my head, I was going to say, about a week plus ago, I said after Nick Lodolo had really dominated the Padres when the Reds were in town, there was going to be no tipping of the cap when Lodolo was on the mound after that game, after the Padres had lost 5 in a row. Tonight was actually a game where I thought with Imanaga, you tip your cap. I mean, he's been doing this to everybody. So I wasn't going to go crazy. It was a guy they had never seen, and this is what he's doing. I mean, he's been just stifling every offense he's faced so far. So I can't go crazy about that part. Profar's swing was great. You can be certainly frustrated by the bullpen here tonight, being unable to hang on to this lead. You get another insurance run or two, may end up being a different game. So there were a couple of fingers you can point in the final 2 innings there, really in the final 2 half innings between the bottom of the 8th and the top of the 9th. But hey, it was a game where you thought you had a steal of a win. You couldn't hold on. I'm not going to go crazy about it tonight, but feels like a game you certainly could have had. And man, it would have been a really good win in Chicago. All right, we'll step aside here on the Padres Radio Network. Come back, full out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. We'll continue to take your phone calls if you want to get them in. 833-288-0973. The phone number, tweets, DMs, comments. We'll roll through some of those when we come back as well. Cubs 3, Padres 2, the final on the Padres Radio Network.
TimberTech is the #1 premium
Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Cubs 3 and the Padres 2. Michael Busch, the walk-off home run in this one, propelling the Cubs to a 3-2 win on the very first pitch he saw from Enyel De Los Santos. Still a lot to do on our post-game coverage. You can get involved in a number of different ways. You can either tweet at me or Instagram DM me at Sammy Lev. SAMMYLEV. You can also find me on the video stream in the comments section. You can comment on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. I'll roll through some of your comments here in a little bit. Or you can call 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call if you want to get involved on what was a frustrating ending for the Padres. I don't know that I'm going crazy about tonight's game. It was frustrating. It would have been a steal of a win. I thought these two games are really, really good. And now, okay, you try to win the series tomorrow. I want to read this tweet here, and then I'll get into more of my thoughts here. But Reed tweeting in here. Reed saying, yesterday and today's game had postseason vibes. Saw it as two good teams playing well against each other. Cubs just happened to win. On to the next win tomorrow. Baseball rules. Go Padres. Well, Reed, we'll see if the Padres can get a win tomorrow. Win this series. I certainly think you'll take that. Take 2 out of 3 and go on a 4-2 trip and get out of there, get home to San Diego. I thought more than anything, what tonight continued to reveal was the concern about the path to Robert Suarez. And I say that because nobody's really taken that job and run with it, right? Everybody's had some nice moments. Everybody's had some rocky moments. And look, that is sometimes the nature of a bullpen. But whether you want to talk about Yuki Matsui, who struggled the last couple of days, or Enyel De Los Santos, who struggled the last couple of days, or you want to talk about somebody like Wandy Peralta, those are the more veteran, even though Matsui obviously is in his first year in the major leagues, those are the more veteran names that are your quote-unquote setup guys right now. And all have been up and down, and all have had some rougher moments to this season. There's not a clear, bona fide, dominant setup guy right now. So that continues to be, I think, a concern, a legitimate concern for this bullpen. Look, you've got some young guys. I mean, I think Jeremiah Estrada has the stuff to maybe be that guy, but, he's new and he's young and he has to work his way into that role, I think. Look, Morahone, if you want to start putting him in much higher leverage situations, not that he wasn't in high leverage tonight. It was a different situation where you were looking for some length, keeping it a close game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Padres start doing that a little bit. For as effective as he's been, in a 1-run game, 7th, 8th inning, throw him in a real traditional setup role. I think that's something we could see moving forward. The Padres sort of searching for that guy. But to me, it still feels like they're sort of searching for that dominant setup role. And that continues to be a concern, I think. So, again, when I look at this game, tonight it was more about that thing in particular rather than being really disappointed that they didn't win the game as a team. Because, look, were they shut out through 7 innings by Imanaga? They were. But again, I can't get crazy over that tonight. He's doing that to everybody. And then they did find a way to take the lead against them with the swing by Profar. And again, the setup relief, it's been up and down. And there was a good example of it here tonight. So we'll see if they can shore that up. But look, you've got a long way. And I saw people in the chat and Twitter, Instagram talking about, hey, well, AJ's going to go add some arms at some point. That may be true. I think reality is it's May 7th. So the Padres have to find a way to solidify the path to Suarez. That is, to me, as far as the bullpen, the biggest concern right now. And I think one of the bigger concerns on your team right now, if you're a Padres fan. So we'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow. But again, great baseball game here tonight. And look, you're not going to win every game by scoring 6, 7, 8 runs. Sometimes you're going to have to win games like they almost did tonight, where you have a late swing and you win a 1-run game. They just couldn't hang on to do it. So we'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow. All right, let's tell you about our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Rise at first base. 2-2 to Profar. The pitch from Imanaga. Hit in the air to left center field. Trying to find the gap. This one is up and out. A home run! Profar, a line drive homer to left center field. And the Padres take a 2-1 lead.
That's how you collect data and make the adjustment when it counts. Padres getting active here in the 8th inning. 2-run shot by guess who? Jerickson Profar.
Jerickson Profar will be our player of the game here tonight. We'll keep it on the Padres for player of the game. Why not, right? Profar's big 2-run home run. He continues to be just wonderful for this team in 2024. For that swing, Jerickson, our player of the game. Do want to read through some of your YouTube comments here because a couple here focused on Yuki Matsui. Anthony saying Yuki is a good pitcher. The Beef saying, think Yuki is having a bad road trip. I still think he has it in him. This is kind of the first time he stumbled. He's new. It's May. I still have faith he'll find it. Look, Matsui had been really, really solid. He gave up 1 run before April 16th in a span of, I'm counting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 appearances. He only gave up 1 earned run in his first 11 appearances. In fact, 2 runs in his first 13. Really, since that outing in Colorado where he gave up a couple of runs, walked a batter, 2 given up there, 2 given up yesterday, 1 today. I'm certainly not saying that Yuki has not had some really good stretches and moments here. He has, and I think he's going to be a very big part, and I think very effective part of this bullpen. The point being, he's had some shakiness here last couple of days and really in the last week plus. Same thing with De Los Santos. So, look, some of it is the nature of a bullpen. There are ups, there are downs, but I do think solidifying those setup roles and getting more consistency, I do think that is something the Padres really have to find, because right now it's been up and down. So there's no doubt about it. Yuki can bounce back. De Los Santos can bounce back. He had a great run, as of a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where he was pitching really, really well. So it's not like these guys have not been good at all, but they're going through a little bit of a rough patch, especially these last couple of days. All right, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues today. We've got a couple of games still going on right now. Dodgers ahead of the Marlins 8-1 in L.A. in the third. Giants leading the Rockies 5-0 in Colorado, 9th inning there. Everything else is final. Tigers beat the Guardians 11-7 in Cleveland. Diamondbacks over the Reds 6-2 in Cincinnati. Corbin Carroll a 3-run home run in that game for Arizona. Phillies beat the Blue Jays 10-1 in Philadelphia. Bryce Harper, his 3rd consecutive game with a home run, this time a grand slam in Philly tonight. Nationals beat the Orioles 3-0 in D.C. Rays beat the White Sox 5-1 in Tampa Bay. Randy Arozarena a home run in that one. Angels beat the Pirates 9-0 in Pittsburgh. Kevin Pillar, a couple of home runs in that game for the Angels. The Yankees beat the Astros 10-3 in New York. Anthony Volpe a home run against Justin Verlander in that game. Braves beat the Red Sox 4-2 in Atlanta. Brewers beat the Royals in Kansas City 6-5. Willie Adames a go-ahead 3-run home run in that one for Milwaukee. Mariners beat the Twins 10-6 in Minnesota. Cal Raleigh, a pinch hit go-ahead grand slam in that game for the Mariners. And finally, Mets came back to beat the Cardinals 7-5 in St. Louis. Brandon Nimmo, a home run in that game for New York. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday. When we come back, we'll preview tomorrow's game. We'll also have our play of the game, not one you're going to want to hear tonight, but please stay tuned. That wasn't a great radio tease on my part, but hey. Walk-off home run, you can probably guess what it is. We'll break down this game one more time. Get you ready for tomorrow. Final score here tonight, Cubs 3, Padres 2. More after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Cubs 3 and the Padres 2, as the Padres for a little bit look like they may pull off a steal of a win in Chicago. Jurickson Profar, a go-ahead 2-run home run against Shota Imanaga, who had really dominated the Padres through the first 7 innings, 7 scoreless innings, but then Luis Arraez, a pinch hit leadoff single. Moments later, Profar, the go-ahead 2-run home run, but the lead very short-lived. Cubs would tie it on a sac fly in the 8th to make it 2-2. And then what was our play of the game in the 9th?
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Michael Busch leads off against Daniel De Los Santos, swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air to deep right center, gone, a walk-off home run. Well, don't worry about the rain anymore because the game is over.
First pitch heater, middle. Michael Busch ends it.
Cubs win the game 3-2.
Walk-off home run for Michael Busch. First pitch he saw of the inning from Daniel De Los Santos, wins it for the Cubbies. 3-2, the final. Padres and Cubs have split the first 2 games of this 3-game series. That sets up a rubber match of this series tomorrow. Right-hander Dylan Cease makes his return to Chicago. He pitched on the south side, but will make his return on the north side tomorrow. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Hayden Wesneski has actually been really good so far this season. We'll have plenty more on that tomorrow. On the mound for the Cubs. First pitch tomorrow morning at 11:20 a.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show begins at 10:20. I think that qualifies. 10:20 a.m. pregame for a little Padres and pancakes. I think so. 10:20 a.m. So join us tomorrow. Padres and pancakes pregame coverage at 10:20 and first pitch at 11:20 at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the Cubs: 3 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. They left on 7. For the Padres, 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 8. Winning pitcher in this game was Hector Neris, who improves to 2-0. Losing pitcher was Enyel De Los Santos, who drops to 1-2. Time of game, 2 hours, 31 minutes. And the crowd at Wrigley Field in Chicago, 38,133. As always, if you missed any of our post-game show, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt. Find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. For our great studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night. Again, the final score here tonight, the Chicago Cubs 3 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning on the Padres Radio Network.